And the sheriff, though, says he's pretty confident the two will be back in custody by tomorrow. He says he's offering a $1,000 reward on each man and says the tips have already been coming in this afternoon. Some of those tips from other inmates. The sheriff says that is one thing in a case like this that makes the hunt easier for inmates, is that there's no honor among thieves. We will keep you updated. Live in the newsroom, I'm Rob Olson.
Rob, thank you. There has been a tremendous outpouring of support for the family of a student who drowned at Apollo High School in St. Cloud. Administrators say students will begin selling bracelets to raise money for Chai Cheng's family. The 13-year-old was found in the school's pool yesterday. He later died at the hospital. Police are investigating.
The No Fraud program is on a mission. It's out to stop fraudulent telemarketers. A postcard of protection tips is going out to everyone in the country. One tip, beware of callers who say you've won a prize but ask you to send money first. The No Fraud program is using the postcards as a teaching tool.
Mail fraud, telemarketing fraud has cost us $40 billion a year. Through education and awareness, we're hoping to put a dent in that number.
To learn more on how to protect yourself from fraud, check out No Fraud's website. Or to report a fraud crime, call 1-877-987-3728. America is the world's melting pot, a place where one's race, ethnic background, or religious beliefs aren't supposed to matter.
But all too often, people are picked on for who and what they are. In 1997, more than 8,000 hate crimes were reported to the FBI. Race was the #1 reason for the majority of those attacks. Tonight's inquiry looks at one man's crusade against hate. Here's Jeff Ballion.
I'm not in this to teach history. You'll learn some history today, but I'm in it to try to pass on something else to you.
Who is this man?
I'm going to walk you on a journey, and I want you to imagine that you were there.
How can he possibly expect a group of 7th graders who just rolled out of bed to pay attention while he talks for 3 hours straight?
It's amazing that his rapport with the students keeps them absorbed for 3 hours. It's amazing. I can't keep them absorbed for 45 minutes.
How does he do it? By telling them a story unlike any they've ever heard, and by telling it with incredible passion.
The tower! The tower over there! Meet at that tower every day at 10 o'clock until we find each other! The tower at 10!
Tim Scott isn't an actor. He's not a teacher. He's a country lawyer from New Richmond, Wisconsin, driven by a powerful conscience and a strong conviction.
They grabbed you first. They shoved you towards this man. You were second. You were third.
In 3 hours' time, Scott will guide this group on a personalized tour of a Nazi death camp.
And then you watched a human being bludgeoned to death. The screaming continued for 20 or 30 seconds, the beating for a minute or more. The body was left there as a warning to all of you. You go where you're told.
Every eye is on this stranger, every ear tuned to his message.
And you slowly and painfully suffocate to death for 14 or 15 eternal seconds.
The message he wants to leave with the students is that the spirit of hate which ignited the Holocaust is alive and well.
They started by labeling people, by spreading lies and vicious rumors about people and categorizing them into groups and shoving them into corners of isolation. That's where the Nazis started. That's the spirit of the Holocaust. Look around you today and tell me what you see.
Tim Scott launched his one-man crusade over a decade ago, long before the massacre at Columbine High, long before countless other hate crimes grabbed headlines.
I'm the kind of person that I have to be doing something like this. I guess it's just in my nature to feel okay about who I am and what I'm doing with my life.
Tim Scott isn't Jewish, and he's never been the victim of a hate crime. But as a diligent student of history, he's troubled by America's emerging culture of hate.
I think we have a little bit of a dangerous arrogance in this country that, oh no, not us, never here. It couldn't happen here, never could.
But listen to some of the essays he's received from students in Minnesota and Wisconsin.
I hate bastards like you telling us how great Jews, niggers, Japs, chinks, spics, and any other lower life forms are. I think the gays should be lined up and shot one by one. When the year 1999 is over, many other races will be extinct in Minnesota.
Scott says the increasing prevalence of attitudes like that compel him to spend hundreds of hours visiting schools.
Who have you put beneath you? When you answer that question honestly and for yourself, you will have found the spirit of the Holocaust burning alive and well in you.
Scott has given this presentation hundreds of times over the years and refuses to accept any money for his time or his travel expenses.
The gas chamber at Mauthausen.
Is the message sinking in?
Doesn't change everything, but I definitely see a difference, and I see more willingness to talk about these things.
We saw that happen after a presentation at Menominee Middle School.
Does it really make me a nerd? It lowers your self-esteem a lot.
Can one man really make a difference?
You did a good job.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Tim Scott thinks so.
If I can motivate a kid to try to step in and defend a kid, or at least be a kid's friend who's been rejected or isolated, then I think I've accomplished a lot.
Tim Scott will make that presentation 60 times this year. He'll visit any school that wants him. It's a lot of work, but he says as long as the message has relevance, he'll continue to deliver it. Mr. Scott will appear on Good Day Minnesota tomorrow morning here on Channel 9 at 8:45.
Very powerful stuff. And, you know, obviously kids study the Holocaust in history classes, but I don't think that many of them really realize how it can hit home, you know.
I sat through that presentation, and he just sucks you in. You become part of the Holocaust.
Yeah, you really can't help but be touched by the emotion that he shows, and obviously his message is getting through to a lot of people.
A lot of calls tonight. People want to invite him out.
Oh,
I think we got him more business than he bargained for.
Could be. Well, watch Good Day
That's a good
Minnesota
message.
tomorrow morning at 8:45 to learn more. Thanks, Jeff. And tonight on the 9 line, call and tell us what you think about Tim Scott's approach. The number is 612-946-1234, then press 1. We'll play your comments throughout the newscast.
I think Mr. Scott's approach is well needed, and not enough is done to address this issue. Thank you.
And thank you for calling. St. Paul is ready for Y2K, and city leaders want to make sure St. Paul residents are too. They're mailing a brochure to everyone in the city. It's packed with do's and don'ts to prepare for whatever happens on New Year's Eve. Mayor Norm Coleman says he doesn't expect problems with major utilities.
My biggest concern is there are going to be so many people calling about 2 minutes before 12, whether it's to find out or a minute after, whether it's to find out is your phone working, or simply to wish everybody a Happy New Year, that we're going to suffer from telephone overload.
The city needs volunteers to help on New Year's Eve with their emergency communication network. And to volunteer, you can call 651-266-6925. And we're going to see some crazy changes in our weather. That's just in the next couple of days. So we're going to get a first look at the forecast from Sam. Sam?
From the crazy meteorologist, yes. Warm day tomorrow. Temperatures up around 60 for an afternoon high. We will see a little bit of sunshine, but those clouds will be thickening up throughout the day, and that will give way to some developing rain in here tomorrow night, maybe even a rumble of thunder before the precipitation changes over to snow. That's right, snow on Friday. And we do have not only snow showers in the forecast and rain showers in the forecast, we also have meteor showers in the forecast overnight tonight as well. And we'll tell you much more about that. We have a full slate of weather for you coming up shortly after 10:15.
Okay, Sam. People in South Minneapolis are thinking big. They've got a plan to revitalize part of the Phillips neighborhood. Residents and developers mapped out a 60-block plan for an area they're calling Ventura Village. It includes up to 7,000 new housing units. Project organizers are optimistic they'll get the money they need. If everything goes their way, the project would be complete in 5 years.
And just to kind of set the record straight, they say it's not named after our governor.
There's a Hispanic community there. And
yeah, some Hispanic folks live down in that part of town. And they say that that word, at least...
Ventura?
Yeah, it has something to do with being optimistic about the
Right,
future.
good fortune or something like that. Not an exact translation.
No, we're paraphrasing.
But
well, records of Hitler's plan to breed a master race are uncovered. We're going to go back to that story and bring you more next.
And what you buy in thrift stores may be hazardous to your health. We'll explain later.
9 News. More local news every night.
We're Recordings from the black box of EgyptAir Flight 990 are painting a dark picture.
But family members of the co-pilot who may have triggered the crash are trying to clear his name. According to investigators, the co-pilot was left alone at the controls. He then said that he made his decision and put his faith in God. Moments before the plane began to dive, the pilot returned. Evidence shows the two men may have struggled, but the co-pilot's nephew says his uncle most likely had good reason to be at the controls.
If it was Gamil in the cockpit, so definitely they called him for help. A man with experience like him, definitely they would ask him to come for help.
Translators admit some parts of the conversation are still sketchy. A Navy salvage team will step up its efforts to recover debris tomorrow. In New York, a woman waiting at a traffic light was attacked with a brick. A man hit the woman in the back of the head with an 8-inch brick. He hit her so hard she needed emergency brain surgery and is now in critical condition. Witnesses tried to catch the attacker, but he got away. A $10,000 reward is being offered for the arrest and conviction of the attacker.
Records of children born under a Nazi program to breed a German master race could finally be opened. For years, about 1,000 people born in the project had few clues about their roots. German officials say they plan to crack open the archives. Hitler wanted blonde, blue-eyed, tall Germans. Files could help identify the parents of those children who failed to meet his criteria. Many of those children were sent to orphanages.
In Wired, a website spoof on a popular magazine treats dog lovers to a laugh, but Playboy magazine is biting back. The magazine wants a New Jersey man to muzzle his Play Dog website. Playboy says it's a trademark infringement. The site features lots of photos, but these are okay for all ages. You can send in pictures of your canine all dressed up or link to other doggy sites for advice, like what to do if you lose your pet. You can link to all of the sites we feature on Wired from our homepage. Just dial up KMSP.com, click on Wired, and you will get a list of a whole bunch of sites we think are worth checking out.
Oh, Play Dog. I mean, leave it alone.
You know, he should just go tell them to go up to the woof.
Right.
And complain from there.
Yeah. Email him that, Sam.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Weather's going to get a little different here in the next couple of days, huh?
Transition to winter.
Here we go.
Continuing to take place. We've been talking about this since almost October 1st when we had our first real snow, which missed the metro but did nail parts of southwest Minnesota. And Friday, another chance of snow in the forecast. But first, even warmer tomorrow. And then snow develops after some rain, and there is a winter storm watch in effect for a portion of Minnesota right now. We'll give you the latest on that in a moment. Currently, just some cirrus clouds up at about 25,000 feet, 41 degrees, dew point 28, humidity 55%, south-southeast winds 8 miles an hour, falling pressure 29.81 inches of mercury. And here is where that winter storm watch is. Northwest Minnesota, eastern North Dakota, Thursday night into Friday. Winter storm watch has been issued. I'm not quite convinced yet that this is where most of the snow will fall. Nonetheless, the Weather Service up that way has issued a winter storm watch. My thinking is that maybe some of the heavier amounts of wet, sloppy accumulations may be in the central or even southern part of the state. So we'll have to carefully monitor that very closely. Here's the storm system back out to our west. Again, it is already raining in through the front range of the Rockies, and the snows are already falling in through parts of the central and northern Rockies, and there are a number of snow advisories in effect. We are just seeing high clouds across the state right now, and there's all the precipitation out ahead of that system. So with mainly clear skies tonight, again, good night to see the peaking meteor showers, the Leonid meteor showers. Afton State Park tomorrow morning. Locally, we saw 35 meteors earlier this morning, so get out there tomorrow morning early if you have a chance. Highs tomorrow should be topping out upper 50s to near 60. Then here come the 30s, and here comes the snow as this area of low pressure moves into the Great Lakes. We will see thickening clouds, and we will see developing precipitation, maybe even a rumble of thunder tomorrow night, and then the rain changes over to snow during the daytime on Friday as this area of moisture does move through. And again, that's when we anticipate that we will see the chance that some of the snow could accumulate in through spots around the state of Minnesota. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, head off to work or school, mainly clear and cool, maybe a meteor, temperatures in the upper 30s, lower 40s, and then highs tomorrow, again around 60, 43 on Friday, and falling back into the 30s, and windy, 40s for the weekend, and some more precipitation next week. Could be snow. We'll update you on that as we get closer.
Back to reality, huh?
Yes.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, Sam. Well, breaking news to tell you about. Several fire crews are battling a fire at two side-by-side apartment buildings in Bloomington.
And the fire is at Pebblebrook Apartments in the 9900 block of Harrison Road, not far from Normandale Community College. This is a live picture. The 911 call came in around 9:30. Crews now have the fire knocked down. So far, no reports of injuries. We do know the third floors in both buildings were damaged. A Metro Transit bus is on hand to keep residents who've been forced out of their homes warm until they can learn more and get back inside. We'll keep you posted and have the latest, of course, on Good Day Minnesota tomorrow morning and Daybreak starting at 5:30. We used to hear about kids not having enough to do, but these days they may have too much to do.
Coming up next, how to balance activities with downtime.
Tonight's Family Survival Kit is brought to you by Walgreens, the pharmacy America trusts.
Heads up if you like to shop at secondhand stores. There's a good chance some of the used items have been banned and the store doesn't know it. The Consumer Product Safety Commission spot-checked thrift shops and found nearly 70% were selling at least one item that's been recalled or violates safety standards. You can get a checklist by logging on to cpsc.gov. The most commonly recalled items sold at thrift shops are children's jackets and sweatshirts with drawstrings that can pose a choking hazard, hair dryers that don't protect against electrocution, and cribs that don't meet current safety standards. How many activities are your kids juggling? Don't forget to give them time to do absolutely nothing. Taekwondo, basketball, guitar lessons, just a few of the activities kids like to do after school.
Don't go too far.
But 6-year-old Kent prefers to unwind by rollerblading after a long day. Researchers say American children have less free time to spend like this than they did just 2 decades ago. And that means less time to process what they've learned from more structured activities and less time to recharge their batteries.
For children, the opportunity